And we are live. Live. Whew. Hey, everybody. Ride along with Run Man, number 17, happening right now. This is the podcast where I, your beloved host, El Runner Hombre, I forgot the word for run in Spanish. Damn. Clearly I forgot sentence placement and structure and that kind of thing as well. Hey, it's number 17 and you're riding along with me, and in a couple of seconds we're actually going to get on to it, aren't we? So, got the motorcycles, mandatory of course. Got the traffic, it's a little bit later than usual. What is it, 4? Something like 4. This is going to be just a mini installment. I was really iffy on this, but before we get to that, let's begin. Whew. Tuck the cord. Gotta love the pinky finger. Okay. Whew. Still experimenting with all kinds of different ways of doing the podcast. Oh yeah, about the last one, just to put a nice little bow on the last podcast, I actually contemplated hanging out with y'all after the pod for a second, coming online again for just a little 3 or 4 minute, whoops, that was weird, thing, because if you watched the last episode, Chronicle 3 tapped out 10 minutes, 15 minutes before I got back to the house. I was learning. I learned. I had a fair amount of battery in this phone. It's been kind of absurd how well the battery situation is with my phone. I have a crazy good pack that I can put on this thing and quadruple the lifespan of it. It's already like a day. If it's on all day, it's crazy. But not the case depending on what you have going on actively on the phone. So what I didn't realize was I was trying to upload the previous day's final episode or something. I forget what it was. But I had been trying to do that. And in trying to do that, I'm just using all this data and I'm using all this battery power on top of recording. And it drained the heck out of that bar. It was really interesting. It was not what I expected to happen. So I learned. It was already a weird run. We all know that it was. It was fun, but it was weird. And so I guess that was kind of the proper way the proper way for that one to end, which is fine. Where should I go today? You know what I can do today? I can show y'all yeah, I'll do that. I'll show you all the vineyard. How about that? It's not very far. We'll wrap this thing up in 30 or something like that. Because that's what I want to do this episode. I was not going to run. Then I decided, what's the reason why I don't want to run? And then I thought, because I'm podcasting. I thought, well, it's interesting. Podcasting typically makes me want to run more. And then I thought back to the previous days. Because I had been running longer runs, right? Longer than usual. Longer than the 45 to an hour. That was sort of my stomping ground in the beginning for the test series and that kind of thing. So, see if I can't adjust that. See if I can't weave through. Let's try to weave through. Okay, still with me? I just showed my face. Oh well. Okay, wing cam. Well, I guess I'm either not going to record this or it doesn't really matter. Welcome. That was me. And, and we're out here making it happen. I'm going to show you, this is not a crazy run, but I did want to go over that idea of what about the podcasting hasn't really been working? And I'll tell you, upload times. For every half an hour segment that I uploaded, I was doing 60 to 85, 60 to 90 minutes in upload time, which is, it's not a terrible thing. it was working for a while, but when I started getting to these 3-parters, I'm kind of getting into the night by the time that these things are done, or that I have my last button push, And that would not be too much extra flotsam and detritus on my time. It's not that big a deal, except that I got other stuff going on as well. You've caught me in a transition period in my life. Probably the heaviest one so far, besides puberty. Everything is changing. Where I live is changing for like the second or third time. The social things, all the social has changed. Thank goodness, a lot of that's behind me. Some of it, not a lot. Enough that I can move and kind of prioritize other things. So that's nice. Everything. But certainly the career. And running every day is great. However, running every day for the period of time that I'm going to be doing it every day is going to become prohibitive when it comes to earning money as well. There's a way of weaving it into my life. Currently, I'm in a stopgap, sort of a band-aid financial situation. And I have an ace in the hole, but that is a very time extensive ace for things to really get kicked off and going. At least that's how I see it. It depends on how I show up with the money that I earn now. So really, I got a lot of pressure right now, riding on being out and about and making those bills. So, since that happens in the middle and the later part of my day, by virtue of the markets that I'm working with, then it kind of does a thing. It kind of does a thing. I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts I'm going to put on you on the workbench here, since we're in the workshop where we talk shop. Ooh, stomach stitch. Might have had too many peanuts before I jumped out. Hey, it happens. It's minor. But yeah, money, cashola. Have some ideas. I could do more of these runs earlier and have that sort of phase of my day worked out earlier. It's doable. Maybe. I could also seek out some other way of storing these files. Maybe if I get a video player app proper or something like that I can store things more cogently. And what that would do is I don't have to worry about breaking my leisure time up, breaking my time up into all these things where I'm making video descriptions and updating titles and uploading videos, because there's less of them and they're bigger. These are hour-and-a-half runs. So, kids just doing their thing. Oh, man. What was I even saying? So that's an option. Do things earlier. And another option is adjust my storage. Kind of do a little investigating, see what's happening there. See if I can't store things in larger file sizes, and do less episodes that just happen to be longer. 1 episode per run is my preference, which would just mean I can hit it and quit it one time, one thing, one upload. And if that upload takes forever, that's fine. I don't have to keep coming back to it and checking it and having different length things happening. So, that's the shop today. These are our thoughts. Another option that I have, which depending on how I need to show up with the cashola situation coming up here, is to limit the podcasting itself. And when I run, that's what I'm doing. Just going, not worried about prepping, not worried about when I'm going to use my data and my battery for using these, for doing these things or other things, and just simplifying and streamlining. I find that I've got a lot up in the air right now. So anytime that I can have less, that's great. And for a period of time, it seemed like this was really jiving. In fact, it still does feel that way. But it is something where, when I've been cracking at it all day, and then I come home, and now I'm titling episodes and doing that, okay, well, when I'm running and talking, that feels good. The reason why most people who do this have some production, most people who have shows have some team, they have some people who support them, and they support as well moderators and tech go-tos, and maybe I'm totally off about that, and that's not the case really. And people are just willing to have they're just willing to have the day grind and the night grind. But I don't want it to feel like a grind. The minute it feels like a grind to me, like something that's set up on a linear path that gives me some gratification but requires an equal amount of input. I like when it feels like the input is just doing itself. And I don't feel that way when I'm looking at a screen and typing, trying to remember formats. Yeah, practice could help with that. Just doing it enough times and having things in my brain more. Some of it will, some of that becomes background process, I'm sure. But it's still time. It's still time, and I value my time deeply. I mean, as long as we're firmly in the impossible, delusional realm, let's, while we're just having a good time out here in the fantasy land of possibility, man, ideally, wouldn't it be nice to have my phone, have no additional equipment that I need, just one thing that I can click one time to do this thing, and then be done with that thing, hit upload anywhere, and then it's off of my phone, or my phone just doesn't have the same memory constraints, so I don't have to delete them in order to make room for new ones. That sounds good. That sounds good. So, I'll be toying with those. I'll be toying with all of those. If I were to say, go from daily podcasting to weekly podcasting, where I'm doing the same amount of runs, but I'm only podcasting once a week, and I'm only doing all that rhythmic, now it's been 60 minutes, so now it's time for the next thing to upload. Now it's time for the next thing. Yeah, that is something that might come, particularly if I decide that I really want to prioritize showing up in the short term, over the next 6 months to a year, really prioritizing it, so that I can put all that money-related stuff on the back burner, because right now, it's all that I'm thinking about. And I blame nobody but myself for that. How am I going to make that cheese? Well, I have ways. How many of the ways that I know are acceptable? How many of the ways that I know seem feasible? This is the wake-up call of the midlife crisis, only I'm very lucky and I'm getting it way earlier. I'm having a third life crisis, if that. And it's not a crisis. It hasn't gotten to that place yet. Although, I'd say I've been in the pink for a long time now. Not the red. Certainly not the black. I've seen folks go through those different spheres. I kind of see myself. I'm doing okay. But life isn't about doing okay. Life is about doing real insane things. Like running a lot. Or is it? I don't know. Yeah. Simple. I like the simple things. You get too complicated and you start tangling yourself up. But then you get some practice on. You learn how to vibe and how to jive. And then I remember things like, oh yeah, this is my podcast. I can treat it like I want to. There's no reason it has to be anyway. It's not like I've ever really come to anything the same way down the line as I entered into it. I always change as the timeline pours on down, whatever it is that I'm doing. It's a great thing because it means that I can grow up not being a great runner and I can become a good runner. Maybe a great one. Maybe a really great one. Who knows? Whoo, got that wind. Anyway, this is what I wanted to show you. Pretty cool. Pretty sweet, huh? Seems like you can see that. 17 minutes, eh? And it looks like I've got the memory for 59 minutes of stuff. Did I not delete yesterday's episode? See, that's what I was talking about. Things just add up. Hey, remember over there? That's our tree line. That's our little knoll. Those are the same mountains. We're just on we're just a little ways further back. It's pretty out here. Just a little run today. It is time to continue. Then there was also the other thing of listening to myself back again. I was doing that every episode for like 14 episodes. I don't remember if I've listened to 15 or 16 yet. The last couple of days. Yeah, I've got a lot to ponder. Remember, it might have been before the official series began, but at one point earlier on, at least I said, one of the things that I look for in exercise and development and all these things is, can I just do it right now with nothing? I made mention that, you can lift weights anywhere because there's heavy shit everywhere that you go. It may not be the safest thing. You might have to make some adjustments. It might not do for you what, your $500 gym budget got you in your garage. Or whatever. But, they're there. Tai Chi. If you have nerves and blood supply to your limbs and can move, you can Tai Chi. Oh yeah, you need like a few feet of space all around you as well. Same for yoga, but a little bit more space for Tai Chi, I would say. At least ideally. I just like space. I'm always going to go for more space, and it is always kind of trippy when I'm doing my Tai Chi and I hit the wall. Or my back bumps into my legs bump into the bed, and I almost fall on my bed in my living room. Or in my bedroom. You know, what other mundane banalities can I bring to the table? It's so important. Oh yeah, running. Running is just getting up and going until you incorporate tech. Now I know that, and now I know what it feels like. And now I've combined that because I've had to make a lot of maneuvers these last few days outside of the podcast. A lot of maneuvers. And I've just had a lot of social interaction as well for me. And I haven't really been showing up for my own need to just do my own thing. I was so strong on it for so long. And then I allowed myself to kind of ride the tide of, well, okay, it's all right to be with some folks sometimes. Just be discerning and be resilient when I get weird feedback or when people don't understand what I'm into, what I'm up to, what my preferences for social interaction are. I could love you to heaven and back. Doesn't mean I want to be around you all the time, or even some of the time. Right now, my favorite friendships and relationships are the ones where I know that I might not hear from them for days, months, weeks. And it's fine. You know, there's no expectation. There's just joy in the connection, rather than this attachment, this expectation of getting together and being with people. It's happening today too. I'm doing money stuff, and I've got folks around who are usually not around, who I want to go see. I'm doing this. I already worked out today. Usually I run first and then hit the weights after a weight period. Today it was reverse. I hit the weights and gave it a hour. Ranger rolled a bunch of clothes. I'm getting faster. And I learned how to do jeans today. Or maybe I already kind of knew, but I reinforced it today. So hell yeah. Ranger rolling jeans, it's not impossible. Looks like it's impossible. But I did it. Didn't do it well, but I did it. Next time I'll pack it a little tighter. The way that I saw it done, I mimicked and I adjusted for absolute possibility. Because it's easy with non-springy materials, right? Your harder, coarser stuff. Denim over spandex, let's say. Things with waistbands versus things without waistbands. That kind of thing. Your maneuvers change, and so I don't know, I'm going down that road. I guess we're folding clothes since we're doing everything else that I'm not super interested in at the same time. May as well just air it all out, right? Stuff I don't like. It is stuff that I do like. It's just not glitzy. I like the Ranger roll technique. It's just not glitzy. But I still felt it in my gut today. I still felt good about doing that. That little thing. And being a little faster at it than usual, that was nice. And, damn, and I've already done That's right, I forgot. I did spend like a half an hour, actually more like an hour, converting my phone plan so that I can do more stuff with my phone in order to set up my cashola missions. Uber Eats. How many things had I not thought of when I signed up? Oh yeah, you need like an unlimited data plan because you're using a shit ton of data. Hip hop in between this restaurant and that residential district. Yeah, man. That's right. What do you say? How about next week we play it real cool? The weekend is going to be a lot of money stuff. A lot of let's get that money. I'm going to be running some experiments with money. It's going to be fun. Yeah, that'll be good. And then one day, we can keep doing that, but make a special effort to really take the time to restore. Really take the time to relax and regenerate. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. I'd like to go bright-eyed and bushy-tailed into June. Yeah. I think that's possible. What do you think? I'm going to aim you up a little bit. Because the clouds right now are really something. I thought maybe I'd show you. Real pretty clouds today. A lot of change in the atmosphere. That's what I'm talking about. As above, so below. All that is without is within as well. And all that is inside me is reflected in my environment. Oh, yeah. Sometimes you forget and sometimes you feel it. That's nice. Yeah. An easy, short run today. Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking about it. Do I want to stop doing things and just go back to my old ways? It's always there. Even when I see this thing working that I'm trying right now. Let's say that it does, and it really works, and I can officially end my employment elsewhere. Well, even then, that based on the way that I conduct myself, believe it or not a doubt in my mind that that door will never be completely closed. Because I'll be welcome on the other side of it, back in that direction. Everybody would have to die or get transferred. Those things do happen. Or or the place where I worked goes away for somehow. And fire couldn't do it, and plague couldn't do it. So I don't know, man. So that's the simplest way for things to proceed. It would really simplify things for me right now in a lot of ways. But what are your hard sells? What are your non-negotiables? Remember bandwidth? Remember the I'm tired, I want to go home people? Remember the thank God it's Friday people? Being around that. Man. You know what? I can draw an analogy. I can actually draw an analogy. See if I can wrap it up before I get home. Okay, Dr. Gabor Mate, a psychologist, a venerable one, he has a beautiful way of putting it, and I'm going to paraphrase him. Substance addiction is pretty fraught in our world. It's a big presence. There's a lot going on with it. And we act the way that we act in our cultures toward the people involved in the substance addiction cycles of our time. From the individual level right on up to the global level. Well, the thing that nobody else wants to talk about, but if you follow people like Whitney Cummings, you'll hear it all the time, is that most addictions are behavioral, pathological, thinking and acting things. It's less the IV's in, the spoon is burning. It's more the behavioral addictions that get you, and they're much more acceptable in the veneer of the public sphere. So you're not going to get quite in as much trouble for them until you're miserable. So here we are. And I wasn't exactly sure how I was going to tie that into what I was thinking, but you can look at the toxicity of you could look at the folks that I used to work with and say, hey, great people, and hey, you'd be right.